And we'll give you an up-close and personal look at one of the joys of spring in Michiana. Those stories and more next on News Center 16's Live at 5. Richard, thank you. We have some spring pictures coming up for you. Feeding our fine feathered friends in the wild is a popular pastime in Michiana, especially during the winter. But as Kent Schmidt reports, that birdwatchers can also benefit by continuing to shell out the seeds in the spring.
Birdwatching is second only to gardening as America's most popular hobby. Sales of wild bird feed last year topped $500 million. Not all of that seed went into feeders during the winter months. Birdwatchers have a lot to gain by continuing to put out feed well into spring. This time of year, feeders can attract a wide variety of species migrating north for the summer. The different birds add an array of vibrant colors to the landscape.
The male goldfinch molts, the feathers leave and bright feathers come in. The female stays pretty much the same year-round, but that color difference really does help in the attraction of the species, but also helps pull away birds from the nest. The female sits on the nest with her dull color. She's not as visible as the male would be.
The first red-breasted robin is a coveted sight every spring. But for color as well as sound, the robin can't beat the cardinal, whose courtship song ranks at the top of the charts.
Oftentimes in the spring you have a lot more sound than you do during the wintertime, primarily for staking off territories because birds are territorial, especially birds of the same species. You can have different species together. But the same species, they oftentimes stake off territories. And yes, it is also for mating purposes to let other birds, hey, I'm here. And the males sometimes get very vocal and actually sometimes get a little aggressive.
Of course, the best way to attract birds is to feed them. To get the most satisfaction and birds, feeders should be put near trees and shrubs. And just any old birdhouse won't do.
Just to make the house and put it up is not going to work. You have to have the location, you've got to have the habitat for that particular species.
Feeding birds can have its drawbacks. Squirrels get a lot of the seed that's intended for other creatures. Since squirrels persistently find their way around most devices intended to keep them out of the seed, bird watchers say, when you can't beat them, enjoy them. Reporting from South Bend, Kent Schmidt, News Center 16.
By the way, local Audubon members will take part in a statewide bird count on May 13th. This count is part of a coordinated effort throughout the Midwest. Bird fanciers who would like to help with the count should contact their local Audubon Society. By the way, that piece was shot by Steve Navratil of our staff. Very nicely done,
Nice
too.
job.
Understand the NFL draft.